Hey everyone, Jeff Ford here for you, kicking off a new discussion around how positions are shapes and shapes are universal. So what you're doing in your lifestyle, in the gym, in your sport, if it is not the correct shape, your body's going to adapt to a poor position or be unable to get in the proper position. So at Power Speed Endurance, we always look at movement as a diagnostic tool. How you are sitting, how you are standing, how you are squatting and deadlifting, all of those things are going to tell us whether you can hold position for your sport and do that for a long period of time. So essentially, being really good at sport has to do with holding shape and holding a efficient shape for a long period of time. Today we're going to talk about how strength moves can exploit posture. So posture is very important in the run, to where we have that nice upright body position, to where everything's glued in and that my shoulders are back and down. So in the bike, what we also see is that those shoulders tend to be internally rotated in that arrow position, and that a lot of athletes are unable to get into external rotation. So here's how this shows up in the deadlift and the squat. When I deadlift, the big key here is that I have the mobility and stability to externally rotate my shoulders and then get nice and tight in the stomach. So in this deadlift position, I want to see that the shoulders can stabilize in back. I can get into the proper setup. So coming down just below the knees, you can see here that everything's glued in and that the shoulders are back, okay? So we're trying to create that nice flat back, that thoracic spine. A lot of the time, athletes just don't have the mobility or haven't drilled this position, so they look like this, and then they start to overextend a little bit to try to make up for that lack of shoulder range of motion. So that's what shows up in the deadlift. Now let's take this to the back squat. When we look at the back squat, it's pretty important, again, that we have a proper position and setup. So obviously feet are shoulder width, knees are going to drive out, but just the grip is one thing. If I've got to adjust out and my elbows are this far back, look what immediately happens to my upper back. It starts to round and the shoulders start to come in. So being able to have my hands at about that 90 degrees and to pull down and really get this shoulder, this bar tight on my upper back, it's so crucial to setting the posture for the squat, okay? Those are just two examples of how shapes and not being able to hit the proper shapes in your strength and conditioning will show up and exploit the posture in your sport. We'll see you back here next week with another movement breakdown.